Hey, what up, everybody? Hey, we're the Boomer Boys, and this is our first official episode of Oklahoma Athletics. So, to get us started off, I'm Tanner Christian. I'm from Tahlequah, Oklahoma. And here's my colleague.
I'm Bryson Hudson. I'm from Dewey, Oklahoma. Like Tanner said, we're super stoked about this opportunity to start an OU podcast. Bear with our takes. Don't criticize us too much now.
Early process.
No early criticism. But we started this podcast. We're just a couple boys that love OU sports. Whether that be football season all the way to the end of baseball season, which I had a chance.
That's right. There we go.
I'll let Tanner get it going with our first segment.
Yeah, kind of started off, how are the vibes in Norman like coming into year 5 under BV? To kind of go off that real quick, I think the vibes are very high. We just came off a great season. We came off a 10-2 season, just made it to the college football playoffs for the first time. Mm-hmm. Year 4 BV, the expectations have slowly climbed to something where, we expect to win every football game you go in.
No, yeah. That makes two of us that are excited, man. I think that a lot of the deals that we found out within last year is that BV can win big games in the SEC. Going from that first year in the SEC, it was rough. And so going from that first year to last year, going into Neyland at 9, going into Bryant-Denny, going into, a lot of those other games where you're like, you're nervous.
You're hesitant.
So, I think the biggest thing is the transformation that's happened all around the stadium, man. The fans.
The vibe is just different,
It's crazy.
And I think that's something that tells you something about BV and the whole coaching staff, that they just bring the different energy, because the previous coach, Tebow, he's out there, you expect to go score a whole lot of points with Riley. That was his brand of football. We bring in BV, it's night and day difference.
I'm excited with that.
When we are at kickoff, you're begging for our defense to take the field first and set the tone. And I think that's a statement on BV and how his culture is. It's not the prima donnas, we're going to go score 100 points to win the football game. We're going to hold you guys to 10 points, and we're going to go win the gritty football games. And I think that's something that BV has done so well from year 1 to going into year 5. Year 1, he had nothing to work with. He came in very late. The departure from Riley kind of screwed us over with the transfer portal. It really wasn't BV's roster as much as he thought it was going to be or expected to be, and that's not his fault at all. He got the job late. So year 1 was a very learning curve for Oklahoma fans. It wasn't the greatest of year, but just from year 1 to year now, or to year 5, going into year 5 is night and day, and I think it's a testament to BV.
Yeah, this is year 5 now. Wow, it's crazy how fast time has flown by. I will say, dude, even the atmosphere has just went nuts. I mean, if you guys were there for the OU Alabama game, the atmosphere before that game was like none other. Yeah. It was just insane. I remember the Champions Walk, dude. 3 fighter jets going over our head, dude. I was ready to get right through a brick wall. But no, it's just been night and day. The football program. Fans are excited. We love it, dude. We're cheering. It's just got that championship feeling.
It does.
It really does.
It does. And that's the thing, kind of going off, we'll kind of bounce on the playoff game real quick, Going into that game, it was almost, me personally, when I was watching the college football playoff selection show, I was praying for Miami. I was like, I want Miami. There was no way I thought they were going to put Bama against us again. Yeah. But then when I saw, I was like, okay, we already beat them once in Bama. Our offense played good enough to win the game, but it just kind of going back to what we were just talking about. The defense in the whole season last year, honestly, after the Auburn game when John got hurt, you just saw the defense take a totally different mentality into every game. Not that it was anything different, but and even the fan base, we knew we had to stop teams, especially in the gauntlet we went through last season. We went from Auburn, we won the good Auburn game, then you hear the buzz, and, we're sitting in the student section like, hey, Mateer broke his thumb. We're like, no, he didn't, And then when that hit, it's like, oh my gosh, John did break his thumb. The next week you go into South Carolina, which is honestly a massive trap game, in my opinion. I thought.
Oh yeah, and then we just dominated, ran all over the
Yes,
field, all over the field. Going into that Texas game, you know, I mean, I don't think he was 100% healthy. I think some things happened. Our defense played phenomenal.
Yeah.
Just didn't get things to go our way. Now I will say I am the biggest John Mateer believer.
Yes, sir, baby. Hey,
Is,
rep the shirt
you know,
right here. Hey, we big John Mateer fans on
I'm
this
a big
podcast.
John Mateer fan. He's going to get it done. I
will,
know that he's
yes.
going to get it done because you can see how he moved at that Alabama game besides the one interception.
Yes.
You know, I know, you know, he battled back after that better than he has all season
You know,
long.
he threw for 350 that game.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, it sticks out like a sore thumb,
Yeah.
you know, just the one pick six, you know.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's just one of those plays. It's football, you know. He's not going to be perfect, you know. I know a lot of us in the fan base, you know, we're very spoiled, and I think that's a blessing. I'm not saying that in a bad way about our fan base. I'm saying we are very spoiled with quarterbacks at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
You just you just look at the line. You got Sam Bradford, you got Landry Jones, you go straight to Baker, you go straight to Kyler, Jalen, and it's like, man, you know, if one of our guys doesn't have a good year, I mean, he has a lot of weight on his shoulders. When he's playing, when you're playing quarterback at the University of Oklahoma, it's not playing quarterback at any other university. You're at QBU.
You're expected to.
You are expected
set the standard,
to win games.
To withhold the
Yes.
standard. Yeah.
And that's why I think we watch a lot of podcasts. You know, we're big podcast guys. You know, so when we see other people talking about this, and John came out with a recent interview at the Manning Passing Academy, which, by the way, looks like a linebacker.
Dude,
the pictures of John Mateer at Manning Passing Academy, he's a linebacker. And that is awesome. You know, that is something that is such a cool thing to see, you know, because you're used to seeing Kyler Murray back there, you know, 5'9", you know, this little guy. And now we got a 6'3" middle linebacker playing quarterback. Man, I would run through a brick wall for John. But going back to that, he's talking about, like, man, I'm throwing a football with 9 fingers. Like, that's, I mean, like,
you can't throw. Yeah.
no,
yeah.
I mean, and people are like, well, that doesn't affect your reads. When I'm playing with 9 fingers, that's going to be in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
You know, I have a broken thumb that I just had surgery on 2 months ago. That's not just going to be like a little toss out your backpack and be like, man, I don't have to worry about that anymore. Like, and I don't think that's what people don't see. There's so much more into the game of football than just reading a coverage. The stuff that people do at a high level, and this, like, BV does it the best out of anybody in the nation. He puts so many disguises in a defense where it has the quarterbacks in a box.
Yeah.
Alabama, you had Ty Simpson in an absolute box that whole entire game the first time we played him at Bama. And I think that's something BV does so well. But going back to the John thing, like, it's not just because he had a broken thumb, he sucked and he couldn't read coverages. I thought John did well for what we
For
had.
having 4 fingers on your thumb.
Yes, I thought he did well. You know, there were some games where, but you know, in those big games like Bama and Tennessee, we're not asking him to go score 42 points. We're asking him to go get us to the amount of points we need because we had so much faith in our defense, and that's what we did.
And, you know, it's just a completely different feeling, you know, when Who You With comes on, you know, you get everything, you know, them boys doing the champions walk, the walk of champions, going to the stadium. It's just, you know, it's a fun time to be an OU football fan.
Yes.
And going into this season, going into it again, I couldn't be more excited, you know.
Yes.
But, you know, I do want to preface, we are talking about OU football today, but there will be more athletics to come. We just thought what better way to start this podcast with OU football. You know, OU football was the reason why I fell in love with OU.
Hey, exactly. So what you grow up watching, you know,
dude.
every Oklahoma fan, you're a fan of Oklahoma football. You're a fan of every Oklahoma sport, but boy, the football program starts it off. You know, that's the first sport that gets you going in the year.
And so that's when, you know, I want to jump right into that then, dude. Your favorite OU football moment. If you could ever remember putting on the OU jersey and running out in the yard, you know, what was the one that stuck out?
Boy,
that you were reenacting, that you were going to.
You know, I'll tell you, there's thousands. You know, you can think of in my lifetime. I mean, I'm 24 years old. You know, I've had a lot of blessings. I got to see a lot of good football teams. You know, honestly, I mean, one of the first memories that pops into my head, and it's not like a massive, like, oh, that changed the program, but was the slant to Marquise Brown and Bedlam when Baker threw that. It was like a 70.
Was that like 66, 55 game?
And that was like the first glimpse. And I remember just turning over to my brother today. He's like, who's number 5? And like, you know, they're like, Holly, you know, got Gus Johnson. He's like, Hollywood. It's like, okay, like I might want to like that guy. You know, that's one of the most memorable plays that, and then, like I said, it's not like a massive play that like, oh, that won us the football game. It's the game-winning field goal. Like, it's just a simple slant route, and he took it to the crib, against little bro OSU. I think that's a great memory. But just watching Baker, honestly, some of the most favorite memories I have is watching Baker. You can talk about the Kansas incident. Maybe not that one's the most favorite one. But I love that Baker. I'm all for that type of mentality on the football field because you got to have some dog in you. And I think that was a testament to Baker of like how good of a player he was. He just had that like I don't care mentality. I'm gonna go win football games, and you're if you like me, you like me. You don't like me, man. Sorry.
So I loved Baker. And my favorite memory actually came from Baker's freshman year. First and foremost, I remember going into that and seeing some guy hit the nay and stuff, and I'm like, dude, who is this dude? And actually, I thought Trevor Knight. I believe that was Trevor Knight.
Yes, it's his second.
That was Trevor Knight.
He came off the Cotton Bowl victory against Bama.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, this guy's gonna be a stud. And then I'm like, who's starting? My favorite ever memory was OU in Neyland, Sterling Shepard.
Yep.
Jumping over. I just remember him leaping into the end zone, but also it's got to be right after Bake coming alive, dude, and just
the shush. Oh, hey,
and that was an overtime, correct?
It was.
Yeah.
Yes, and that was one of those games where it brought the life because that was what week? It was early season. It was non-conference
in Neyland, dude.
And and that was I remember that vividly seeing because then Zach Sanchez got the game-winning interception. And that was one of the games where I don't even know how old I was, but I mean I was younger. I was probably junior high.
I was in 5th grade. I remember this game vividly. 5th or 6th grade.
Yeah, because I think I was 7th or 8th.
I was younger.
And oh, dude, that's a great memory. I forgot about that memory. Honestly,
I missed the first half because I had a football game. I was so mad. Got home, turned it on, but you can even make. I remember where I was at with the Bama game, the Cotton Bowl the day before.
Yes.
Dude, I was in my living room. Those are some great memories.
Oh yeah. There's some other great ones that that would fall under the rug. Is the 28-3 comeback we had against Baylor in 21 with Jalen.
Benito.
Yes, when
he
had like 2 picks that, and if you remember, he dropped a pick of the same overtime series. Like, I mean, right to
it. Benito. That first one, he dropped it, and then he got one. Yeah.
Because I remember sitting there, I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
I remember, I think Jalen had like fumbled and picked up. And I thought they were doing some deal with their fans. The freshman night or something like that. And so I was just like, "What in the world?"
And that's what there's so many like honestly the memories that like I love are like the comebacks. You can think of like the Texas when we. Took out Spencer, put Caleb in. It's like, hey, Caleb Williams, the 5-star. And man, I'm not gonna lie, I turned it. We were sitting at my grandpa's house in Grove on the lake, and Texas went up 28-7. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'll watch it. I'm furious. I'm sitting in there like I don't even want to watch this team. And I remember when we put Caleb in on 4th and 1 down 21, and he bust that ones, and we all kind of like
forget the field goal.
we all kind of sit there like, okay, all right. And then that same game, and me and Bryson were talking about this before the podcast. We were talking about the Caleb to Marvin touchdown.
Yeah.
To be in that stadium, I would have given everything to be in that stadium and hear the roar of that.
Even the toe drag swag, dude, with the shoelace.
Yes.
Dude, that is ridiculous. Because I was like, no. I was hyped, and then I was like, I'm just getting hyped for some reason.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not a touchdown. I'm like, that's a touchdown.
It was in.
And so, no, dude, that game was one to remember. I think, go into it, let's just go right into your favorite OU Texas memory,
Yeah.
Biggest rival. Is that it? Would you put that at 1?
Honestly, yeah. That might be my one. That one, and then, man, this is bad podcast person out here. I can't remember the year, but DeMarco Murray doing a front flip in the stadium. I think it was 2007. I was at that game. That was my first OU Texas game when DeMarco did the front flip in the end zone on the lawn. It was like a 35-yard, and I could be way wrong on the yardage. But I remember vividly, we were sitting in. It was hot. It was so hot that day, and I was young. I was like, shoot, I would have been like 6 years old maybe.
Oh, really?
And so I remember me and Tate, we were little. We were sitting up there. Luckily, one of my mom's best friends, she worked for the OU football department, so we got some really good tickets. And I remember sitting there in the sun, and that's the first experience. You walk in the Cotton Bowl, you hear all about it when you're little. Grandpa's telling you stories. Your parents like, hey, this, and that was the first time my parents. It's unreal, and that was the first time my parents let me and Tate say "suck." They're like, "This is a bad word. You can't say it." And that whole time, like, Texas sucks. You were going horns down to everybody. But I remember vividly walking into the stadium, or like the state fair. Amazing. If you guys have not been to Red River,
You have to go.
You have to go.
That is like a must-go-to game.
Have to go.
Once I went for the first time, I never want to miss again.
No.
It is the one thing that does suck is as soon as you get into that stadium, there's no internet connection for 4 hours. You got a lot of people to your right, you got a lot of people to your left wearing the crimson and cream.
Yep.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
You're there to watch football. You're not there to scroll on Twitter.
No,
you are there
it
to
is-
watch it. And then, honestly, the pregame, walking into the state fair, watching the buses pull in,
Yeah.
that was I was frightened because I thought the OU fans were going to tip over the Texans. I was sitting there like, Mom, Dad, like, what, they're about to tip. They're like, no, that's normal. Everyone does that, But the most memorable, the OU Texas rivalry is my favorite rivalry. I love Bedlam, but 90 to 9. Hey, we love playing Oklahoma State.
I've had some good memories with Oklahoma State too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good. I think that might be my favorite game actually ever going to.
Mm-hmm.
Was when we beat Little Bro at Little Bro. I think it's just really fun to sit. If you ever have any chance, if we ever play Oklahoma State again, go sit in the OU section at Oklahoma State.
It's electric.
And it will be the most fun you ever have. Besides winning OU Texas. If you lose, it sucks.
And I will never wish we go 1-10. I don't ever expect us to go 1-10. But if you win against Texas, it's a good year right there.
You can even see that stadium was loud this past year. It was loud. I think we still should have brought Dr. Shin to that game instead of Mizzou. I think he should have led Mateer with him because that was insane.
Oh, dude, that was incredible. Hey, and to kind of go, we're talking about the favorite moments. Let's not forget the moment Dylan Gabriel led the game-winning drive. Nick Anderson. Hey, and the most underrated play that doesn't get remembered was the Drake Stoops.
Stoops.
Drake Stoops. Shout out! I hope Drake Stoops sees this. Drake, we freaking love you, Drake Stoops.
Farouk, was it Farouk that long pass to the right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. He ran like a 15-yard down route.
And then I thought that was going to be picked off.
I did too. But that is a great memory. I remember watching it in my house with my roommates at the time in college. The camera was shaking. It wasn't like the camera was shaking on, but the stadium was erupting. Because you just beat Texas. When they kicked the field goal with there was like a minute 12 left. You're like, man. You can see the writing on. And not saying we ever thought we were out of it, but it's you're the typical OU fan. It's like, man, we lost.
That game had the fourth down stop, of course. It had a lot of back and forth. The Gentry Williams interception from the get-go set the tone, dude.
Immediately.
What really did, that was in a different era of Brent Venables. We didn't know after watching us go 6-6 or 6-7 and losing. Who did we lose to that year? Was it? I want to say.
We lost some early games that year.
We lost. I think we lost at Tech.
Mm-hmm.
We lost at Tech. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But, try not to get too much on tangent, But going into that Texas game, that was like the first real big game that we won in the Venables era. Seriously.
I really do think we were undefeated going into that game. The game winning one because that was
we lost to KU.
Yes, that's right.
After,
that is totally right. Yes.
To Oklahoma State, and then we had everybody transfer.
Yeah.
Arnold played against
Arizona. Mm-hmm. And honestly, Arnold did not look bad in that game. I'm not saying Jackson Arnold's bad. I'm not saying Jackson Arnold. I think Jackson Arnold is a very talented quarterback. I truly do think that. I think he got put with so much pressure. And I think, kind of going back to what we're talking about, being a quarterback at Oklahoma, it's not just you get. It's for fun and giggles. You have a ton of pressure, especially going into the Mateer. Everyone is hyping Mateer up, in which I was one, I
Oh,
still back up
I
all
was
the
on the
hype.
train.
I think he is phenomenal, but like you just have a different, you know, you have a different style when you're at playing quarterback at Oklahoma. It means more than playing it at Littleboro or Texas or I'm not saying the quarterbacks there are any worse than what we have or not disregarding their talent, but I'm just saying like it's different expectations when you are playing quarterback at the University of Oklahoma. I mean, boy.
Especially as a coming off that year with a new OC, everything. I wish nothing but the best for. Well,
I hope Jackson tears it up at UNLV.
Jackson,
I really hope he does.
Yeah, I wish
and I
nothing
think
but
he
the
will.
best for
And under Dan Mullen, I do think they will be really good. They actually have some local receivers. One of my old teammates at Northeastern, I played baseball at Northeastern State. His little brother was a receiver at UNLV. DeClaudio Irving's little brother.
Awesome.
And then there's a Muskogee. I know his last name's McGee. Sorry if I don't know his first name, but we played him in high school, and oh my word!
No, yeah,
I think Jackson will do great things at
nothing
UNLV.
but the best for him.
Yes.
Kind of deal. But also, we're OU.
We're OU,
I mean,
exactly.
he can lose. He can win every game except one, and that's against OU.
Exactly. I love it. Yes.
I think OU's just a special place. The fans, everything. I will say we have some of the nicest fans I've ever seen.
And the media, boy, I don't know why the media. And don't get me wrong, there is some rude Oklahoma fans, and I might be a rude Oklahoma fan every once in a while. When we lose, I'm in a bad mood. It ruins my whole day. If we play at 11 a.m. and we lose, I'm in a terrible mood. It ruins my week.
You put me at a 7 p.m. game, I'm rude.
But going back on that, like genuinely, I remember I sat next to an Auburn fan when we played Auburn this past year. And we were just chop it up. I love to get to know the opposing team's fans. It's just like, hey, like, how do you like it? And he just bragged on, like, man, the hospitality in Norman, he said it's incredible. He said, we haven't had one bad experience. Everyone is friendly. Everyone is welcoming. Like, hey, man, it's going to be a great game. And you'll have the student sections, which I think, I love the student section, Sometimes I think we can be a little more loud, that.
Yeah, no, I think it's really stepped up. I think it's really stepped up. Once you have big-time teams coming to OU, it's stepped up. It's stepped up. I mean, we don't have, the Iowa States. We don't have the KUs, the K-States, we have Alabama.
Yes.
We have
the Tennessees of the world, Michigans of the
Auburns
world.
of the world. Yes. Michigans of the world, This year we've got the A&Ms, the Ole Miss. I mean, we have good football teams coming to Norman, and it is loud.
And
it is
and the
loud.
The fans are amazing about the fans. Most OU fans are diehard OU fans, and that's what is so special about the fan base.
Yeah.
Because there's so much tradition and history. Like you take my grandpa for example. He's watched Oklahoma football from I don't even know the exact date. And he still loves sitting in front of TV on a Saturday or going to the Palace on the Prairie and watching games.
We're all the same in the way that hey, if we lose, it's the worst day of our lives.
It's one of those ones that, especially whenever, me personally, and my friend group will tell you, I love to talk. I love to talk some crap. I love, and luckily a lot of my friend group is Oklahoma fans. My cousin Dylan, he worked for the graphic design team for Oklahoma football for 4 years. He used to be a diehard OSU fan. I mean, diehard. But he converted to the good side. Finally realized, hey, big bros always.
OSU, there's a chance. Lane Gaskell, if you're hearing this right now, there's a chance, dude.
Hey, but I'm telling you, that's the one thing, and it's not saying OSU fans are bad or that, we're all one state, but we own the state. There's only one.
There's only one.
There's only one Oklahoma. But that's the thing. The fan base is we are so behind the team. When we win, we are on cloud nine. When we lose, we feel the loss.
Yeah.
And I think that's
passionate. It's
yes,
really
and it's a
passionate.
real feeling. And I think that's something special because, when I love NBA basketball. I love the Thunder. I love the Thunder in the postseason. If we lose to the Clippers or the Kings in the regular season, it doesn't ruin my day. I'm just saying, hey, we lost. Shea still scored 40.
As much as this is to sound like, I don't think it ruined my. It did to an extent. I was not happy with us losing to the Spurs.
But when we lost to Bama,
when I lost to Bama, I didn't talk to anybody for a week.
mortified. You're like, dude, I feel like I was out there with John. I'm right there on his shoulder, like, man, we're good,
story,
bro.
My fiance was actually at her neighbor's house, with her parents and everything like that, and they're big Alabama fans.
Oh, no.
And so right after that game, I'm walking to the car, and that's all I get. Like, my phone has been dead for hours. Charge the phone, and all I see is a picture of Bama fans.
Oh, no. Oh, the
And
sucky part about the Bama game, dude. So I coach high school varsity basketball. I'm an assistant coach. When I saw the schedule come out and then the college football, the playoff show, I'm like, don't be December 19th. Don't be December 19th. Look up, we're December 19th. So I, unfortunately, had a basketball game in Stillwell, Oklahoma. So
do you just skip it at that? Like,
I asked my coach, I'm asking him every possible. I'm like, hey, we can move this up to a 12 o'clock game because I was going to go. I was going to the OU game.
To point out, for y'all that don't know and are unaware, there was high schools actually canceling games.
Yes.
There was high school basketball teams. There was schools canceling school.
Yeah.
Over this game.
It is
anything. That atmosphere.
It was unbelievable. And one of my good friends, Sinjin, he was in the stands, and luckily Stillwell doesn't have a big gym, it's a pretty small gym. So I remember just sitting on the bench and, you turn around and he'd be like, hey, it's 10-0. I'm like, hey, there we go. He's like 17-0. I'm like, dude, we're winning. And we go into halftime and I see him, he's like, it's tied 17. So I was like, what? Luckily, my coach, he was my basketball coach when I was in high school. Luckily, he's like, hey, you can, because I lived out in Stillwell. He's like, you can drive your truck. You can go home after the game instead of going back into town. Anyway, I got home, watched the second half of that. But just the atmosphere that you could just tell, and you were there. One of my good buddies, Tyler, was there. It was just rocking. It's rocking. I was
there. Shout out Kelsey. Shout out Easton. Shout out Big Ryan. We were there. And it was booming. It was booming. It was, even to get it, it was like, we walked over to game day. And after game day, we ran right over there, hour left. And these lines, every single line, it's like a purge at the gate. It is insane. Unlike anything I've ever seen. And I'm like, dude, this is the best day. This is the best day.
Oh,
and then the pregame, I'm ready to go through a brick wall, dude. Toby Rowland, shout out.
Goat.
The greatest.
GOAT, Toby. Toby, hey, if we get big one day, we'd love to have you on this podcast.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you on this podcast. It was amazing. It's just so much.
Let's go. Awesome. I know we want to keep this a little bit shorter. Let's give the viewers, if anybody's out there viewing and hearing our takes, we'll probably say this a couple times, but let's go ahead, let's make a statement in the first one. Let's give our record prediction. So.
Okay, so
we can actually, let's go through every one on in here is, win or lose. Win or lose.
Okay, yeah. And I before we start this, I will say, we have had the worst draw in the schedule. Hey, here Oklahoma, let's go through a gauntlet the first 5 weeks. And then we got some other schools. It's like you're playing the bottom feeders.
Yeah.
Hey, but we love the challenge, And I think if you were to ask everybody in the facility, they love the challenge. They love the opportunities to go beat the teams, the Michigans, the Bamas, all them in the big time games like that. So I think it's an incredible opportunity.
So Friday night they moved this game up. Actually, it was Saturday. And they moved it up to Friday night. UTEP at Oklahoma.
Honestly, you think of UTEP, I don't even know if Malachi Nelson's still there, actually. But I think he was starting quarterback last year for UTEP, I want to say. But I think this is a great opportunity. It's first game, you got your first home game. I'm assuming it's a night game, correct? Or it is a night game. You got your first game of the season, 2026 season, in the Palace at night against UTEP.
70-3.
I think it's going to be. But you just think last year, hey, we played Illinois State, which, by the way, Illinois State had a run in their playoff in the FCS. They made it to the national championship. And we won 35-3, I think, that game, first game last year. So I'm not discrediting UTEP.
I don't need to score 70 points. I just need my defense to do what they are capable of doing.
I think it will be a great showing for Oklahoma. And
Maybe we
a
get
win.
to see a little bit of Bo Bentley.
I'm excited
I'm
for Bo.
excited.
Hey, I saw the video that went viral on Twitter, Instagram of John squatting 315 like 9 million times and looking like a monster. People, I don't know if people noticed, Bo Bentley in the background, hey, he's gained some weight,
gained
some
weight.
good weight, and he looks good. And shout out, just the whole strength and conditioning staff. It's, hey, when you're in the weight room, you're working. And I think that's a great thing. And like you said, Bryson, I hope we get some Bo Bentley action. I hope we get to see some Emmanuel Choice touchdowns, which, by the way, we will have a different episode on this.
I will also like to see Emmanuel Choice.
Boy, Emmanuel Choice, I'm excited.
I'm excited to see Witt, dude. I've heard he's throwing the rock really good
Yes.
as well.
But
So,
I do think a W, I think we both can agree, a W against UTEP.
Let's go.
Oh,
You know who I'm going
Boy.
with.
Hey,
At
Bryson.
Ann Arbor,
Bryson will actually be at this game.
I will be at this game.
He will be at this game. I will
will be
not,
at this
sadly, I coach high school football. We work on Saturdays, Sundays. We put in a lot of work. So I get to go to a lot of the home games,
Yeah.
But Bryson will be at this game, the Big House.
will.
And I think this is the game of the year. It's kind of like in the same breath of last year. Last year,
Set the tone.
it set the tone. It did. And I was watching On Three. I was watching JD Pickle earlier. Shout out JD Pickle. He's phenomenal. I love watching his podcasts. He was talking about this game, especially under new head coach at Michigan, Kyle Whittingham, which is a great coach. Just look at BV year one. Now, granted, he has a lot more return than what BV had. It's hard to get your program and your standards set immediately year one.
2 games.
And I don't even know who Michigan plays before OU. I'm sure it's probably FCS or, we can check here real quick. But you just think they play
Western Michigan.
Western Michigan. Hey, my in-state rivalry. But you just think their playbook's not gonna be. They're not gonna unload the clip against Western Kentucky or Michigan. We're not gonna unload the clip against UTEP. It's gonna be very base vanilla offenses from both teams in their week one. But going into week two, I think the biggest challenge in that game is controlling the atmosphere. The Big House. We went to Neyland. You went to Bryant Denny. You beat the big teams at night. But what I will say, it's an 11 a.m. kickoff, which is criminal.
I think that helps us, though.
It does, yes.
Rather than playing at 7 a.m.
Yeah, or 7 p.m.
7 p.m. Sorry.
I can't agree more. I think the 11 a.m.'s
kind of waking up,
Yes.
You're waking up, and the boys from Oklahoma are coming.
And shoot, the way
I like our quarterback better than I like their quarterback.
Oh yeah, and
Frank.
Bryce Underwood is a phenomenal quarterback. But what we were talking about earlier, how BV puts quarterbacks in boxes. Look at week 2 last year. He looked uncomfortable. Now, granted, first road start in Norman, that place was rocking. I was there. It was loud.
I think what we need to put on every screen, on every door, on every TV at these boys the week of is him saying that he is the greatest thing that could come out of Michigan. I think we win that.
And I think we match up so well with them, especially up front. They're Big Ten football. That is smash mouth football. They are going to get in 32 personnel. They're going to get in. They're going to have 3 extra linemen. They're going to load the line. But I think that plays with our defensive schematically so well because BV works so good. And shout out, our box is, I will go out on a limb and say one of the top 3 boxes, front 7 in the nation. If not one. I truly do think that. You look at Stone, he has made monumental. Jaden Jackson, Nigel Smith. We were talking about that pre-podcast.
Okoye.
Yeah. Dude, Okoye, monster.
Wine.
Monster. And I think that we line up so good. You got Heineke to come back. He won the court. Kip. Cole Sullivan. Hey, homecoming game for him, by the way, which I think he will go crazy.
And then you got Powers stepping up the box as well, dude.
And that's what I'm saying.
I think Powers will have a good game.
And I don't know a whole lot about Michigan right now. We'll study on that leading up to that game. We'll have a pre-game, how we feel about that. But just looking at that game, it's such a big moment in our season. And I do feel so much confident. If we didn't go into Neyland to Bama and win last year, I don't think I'd feel as confident this year.
Especially at night, dude.
Yes.
That Bama,
Yes, and that's what makes me feel so confident about this game. And we have that. OU has that circled on their schedule. You know they do. That's the first challenge of the season. Not disregarding UTEP by any means,
Yeah.
but I do think that's the schedule or the game circled on the schedule.
All right, let's go into it quickly. New Mexico.
New
At
Mexico.
Night game. Night game. Woo!
I'll keep that one. I think it'll be a win. I don't know if I talk a whole lot on that one.
The way that we were able to talk about Michigan, I want to go ahead. Let's go ahead and give a whole series on Michigan and these next two games.
Yes. We will give you guys our prediction for the first 5 games all the way up to Georgia, but we will make a whole different. We will break down each game.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
And I'm down for it.
There's so much to talk about. With
There is.
Because it can go one way, it can go the other.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go into Sanford Stadium. Let's go
Man, in the
Georgia.
hedges, man.
This is going to be either a midday game or it's going to be a night game.
I think it depends on the Michigan game, which honestly I don't think it should. I think it should be a night game. The two of the biggest brands, Georgia and OU. You look at those logos.
I think Bama and Texas play that week as well.
Do they?
I think that's what happens. And so I think
Man.
we could be seeing this.
I could see either way. I think it probably depends on the Michigan game. If we're undefeated, they're undefeated. I'll throw this out. I don't think Texas beating Ohio State.
I don't think so.
I don't think they're beating. I think Ohio State's going to go into Austin and just dog walk them. That might be because I hate Texas with a passion. I don't ever think Texas is going to win a game.
I think, though, I would almost. No, I would love to see them lose, and I'm one of those guys where I hope they lose
every game.
If they can, I hope they lose every game. But how electric would game day be at OU Texas, and when we beat them, that much better.
And I think, but going into the Georgia, I hope it's a night game. I think that's going to be a great matchup. Just brand versus brand. The blue blood versus blue blood. And I think, we got a player that went to Georgia, Gentry Williams. If Gentry's a Tulsa boy, love Gentry. I wish he never left. It's a homecoming game for him. But I'm just very curious to see how we handle adversity in that game. Because there's going to be adversity. I mean, you're on the road against the number 1 team in the nation.
Let's just go ahead. Let's chalk. I mean, I think that we're gonna. Everything is in me saying we're gonna win this game.
Mm-hmm.
We can win this game.
I am fully confident in that. And I will never. I don't think either one of us will ever come out and be like, I don't feel good.
I don't think.
I don't think we have a chance.
At the schedule, knowing who we have on this roster, looking down, dude, I don't know if we lose. I mean, seriously. Being optimistic.
I think our ceiling
2-1 versus those 3 teams.
Yes,
it's fine.
And like what we were talking about before the podcast, and a lot of people have said this on the sports media outlets, the On3s, the 24/7s of the world. Our first 5 weeks. If you drop 2 of those games, you gotta win out. Like what we're saying, 9-3 got us in. 10-2 got us in last year very comfortably. There wasn't a bone in me last year, are we going to make it on selection day? Yeah. You knew OU was, when we beat LSU week 10, you knew we won.
I don't want to, but also we're traveling, we're going to the number, it'll probably be the number 18, 17. If we were, and I don't want to put ourselves in that position. No. I think realistically, I know we can win all those games.
Yes.
For the critics, if we go 2-1. I wouldn't mind.
I'd be ecstatic if we went 2-1.
If we're going into that Kentucky game and we're 4-1,
that's a great start.
We're looking like locks.
Because you look at the back half of the season, which we're not going to predict the back half. We're going to predict the first 5, but just kind of piggyback. You go Kentucky, Mississippi State,
South
Carolina, Florida,
Ole
Miss, and then you got
and
Mizzou. You see some big names. You see the Floridas. You're going to Gainesville, but they have the first-year coach with Summerall over there. Old OC at OU, Levy, which I think Levy's doing a phenomenal job at Mississippi State. I think he's going to get going.
They should have won more games last year.
They should have. They blew the lead against Texas, which was a heartbreaker.
I was all in on the A&M game.
Yes.
I thought the Cowboys had me going.
Yes.
And so I think the back half.
It's favorable. It's a lot.
I like it a lot better. I think we have some trap games.
100%.
I think that we beat Ole Miss.
I do too.
I think that the toughest game might be that Florida game.
In
the Swamp. That's all.
And the thing that helps out that we got A&M, which I think A&M's 11 a.m. kickoff, which is totally fine. What we expect out of OU fans, we're going to be loud if it's 11 a.m. or friggin' 7 p.m. You know, I think that's something that's good about OU. We bring the energy.
Yeah.
You know, I think we're going to have to bring the energy. But it's what, second to last game? We'll have stakes on the line because I do think there's going to be playoff
aspirations.
Every game. You know, you're a team that just went to the playoffs.
A&M game might very well be a playoff knockout round.
Yes.
And I love that it's in Norman.
Yes.
So, no, we'll go more in depth. We'll make a whole podcast over the season and stuff like that. You know, look forward. We got 1 month.
That's crazy.
I'm so excited.
That's crazy.
But on the bright side, we also have 1 month of podcasting and getting ready and getting prepared.
Yeah.
I know I'm excited.
Dude, I'm ecstatic. You know, and like we were talking about this before. This came up. I mean, like a week ago, you know, I text Bryce like, dude, let's start a podcast, you know, and he's like, hey, I'm all, you know,
let's do it.
So we're very new to this, you know. Luckily, we got some.
Bear with us.
Yeah, bear with us. You know, my editing skills right now, we're shooting on the iPhone, and you got the microphones right here. But hey, like what we were talking about before the podcast, if there's 5 subscribers, we will talk to you 5 subscribers like. Yeah. Where there's 900, you know. We're not doing this for views. This is just an outlet where we can talk about the things we love. And that's OU football, OU athletics.
And I think that we're going to be able to do, we'll do our study and we'll put on our time, you know, because we want to be able to give good information, you know. But, you know, we talked about it. You know, we live 2 hours from Norman. You know, every game day that we go to, I think the big thing that we listen to is podcast, dude. I mean,
you drive up from there. Podcasts. Yeah, you drive up there. You listen to Locked In on Sooners. You listen to the Sooners Scoop. You know, those are the people we love listening to.
I actually met Eddie Radosevich.
Oh, hey,
he was awesome. He's a phenomenal guy.
You know, we have a good friend of mine. You know, I just met him this past year. He's with Locked On Sooner Sports. John Williams. You know, he's from Tahlequah. He lives in Tahlequah with us, and we've been talking to him about that. You know, he's phenomenal. He's a phenomenal guy. Their podcast is amazing. No, if you guys have not tuned into Locked In on Sooner Sports,
he's got some really really good takes on Twitter as well.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing.
That was really crazy that he's from around.
He's from Tahlequah. You know, and that's awesome. You know, and. I think that's the goal we want. We know we're not trying to do this for the viewers or the money. I mean, none of that. We are doing this because we love OU sports. We want to have an outlet to, you know, to give you guys, you know, if you guys want to listen to 2 24 and 22-year-old man, you know.
I will say Teddy Lehman and Gabe Eichert put on a phenomenal pregame. You know, that gets me fired up. They talk about everything, and so I will say that podcast is another great one. But no, we have a lot of great podcasters to look up to.
Yes.
I know that we're not mentioning everybody, of course.
Yeah.
But you know, like I said, please, you know, if you're willing, if you like us,
bear with us.
But
we appreciate
follow, subscribe.
Yes,
we appreciate everything.
We will post. Bryce will talk about what our post schedule and stuff will be if you want to kind of get going on that. And
we're planning as of right now to start off 2 times a week. You know, you'll kind of see our early changes. You know, we're doing it a little bit earlier, so by football season we're ready to go. I do want to say we'll have plans for football season, but also there's a lot of OU sports. You know, we've got a lot of talented OU athletes that we love to follow. You know, we love to go to games and stuff like that, and so. Look forward, you know, obviously right now it's football season, so we'll begin the football hype.
Yeah.
But, you know, basketball season, I'm a big, you know, if there's 100 Porter Moser fans, I'm one of them.
And there's 2 right here sitting there. I'm a Porter Moser guy. We play some defense, and that's why I love defense, you know. And then we'll talk about women's basketball.
I'm a big Porter Moser fan.
Yes, we talk about women's basketball. You talk about baseball, softball, whatever it may be. We're all things Oklahoma athletics. Shoot, I mean, we got best gymnastics program. Anything, you know, and that's something we'll focus on. It's not just a football podcast, but for the majority of this first half of this podcast stuff, it will be football just because we're in football season, you know. But we appreciate you guys tuning in, and like I said, bear with us. It's not going to be flawless. we might say or stutter
Yeah.
or not look at the camera very much. We're learning as this goes, but just we appreciate everything that you guys tuning into this. All of it might be 5 of you first time, or it might be 500. You never know. But we appreciate you guys. Like I said, I'm Tanner Christian with this, and this is.
I'm Bryson Hudson.
And we call ourselves the Boomer Boys.
Boomer Boys.
We love some OU athletics, but we really appreciate you guys. Tune in next time, and we will talk about a lot more exciting things going on in Norman. So hey, Boomer.